Hey, welcome back. Well, a while ago you saw me fix this plastic bumper cover, and now it's in finishing putty, ready for primer surfacer. I've also fixed some of the gouges and whiskey nicks in the side cladding and some of the other parts of this vehicle, including the front bumper, and knocked out some of the dents in the sheet metal, because we're trying to flip this rig, and let's face it, we can make a lot more money if the bodywork's in good shape and it's nice and shiny. But we didn't fix everything. We saved a good one for you guys. Now, this is not necessarily the worst dent, but it's the most interesting because there's a bunch of different stuff at play, and it's a little bit of a challenge. Now, you can see the scratches here, and you might be able to see some of the metal distortion, but now I bet you really can. I've got something to reflect against the black sheet metal, and it's pretty evident. It's been pushed in, and it's been pushed in at a weird angle from the side. Now, your knee jerk is to get in behind it and pop it out from the back, like a bedside in a pickup truck, but not so fast. Because back here, you can see that we don't have access to any of this. It's a double-walled panel, and it's protecting the fuel filler neck, so we got to think of something else. Now, normally what I do is grind this down to metal, use my stud welder, and just pull it out from the front. But guess what this is? This is our fuel neck. That's the fuel source. There might be vapors coming out of there, so I want to avoid sparks at all costs. So we're going to have to get creative, find a way to maybe pry it out from the inside, not blow ourselves up. So we're going to pull this taillight out. What we have here is a vent that gives me access to this score.
This is a paintless dent repair kit from Matco, and it includes everything you need to do paintless dent repair. But that's not what Kevin's doing today. What we're doing is basically using one of the tools as an adjustable pry bar so we can get in behind the dent and apply a little pressure to the backside of the sheet metal.
With the PDR tool set at the appropriate angle, now it's just a matter of getting a feel for the metal and poking and seeing how it responds. Typically, you stab for the lowest point of the dent first, and sometimes that carries the rest of the damage back into the correct shape. But it is a lot of trial and error and takes some futzing around. But here's a tip I want to pass on that I use a lot in auto body work. Use the reflection on your surface to tell you where you are. All right, that popping means there's still pressure. You got to figure out where the pressure is. Look to the edges of it. There's pressure there, pressure down here. Now, you've probably noticed by now just how flimsy this sheet metal is. Well, that's just standard in today's vehicles. The sheet metal is used for aesthetics, for aerodynamics, and typically has very little to do with the strength or safety of the vehicle. That's all engineered into the unibody. So basically, we're just massaging the shape back in for the looks of it. You can see by the reflection that most of the dent has been worked out, and we're getting really close to our shape. The hammer comes in to add a little bit of pressure in the opposite direction and bring the sheet metal back in where I've hyperextended it with the pick of the PDR tool. This back and forth motion stretches the metal to where it more closely resembles the shape that it had before it was damaged. A peek at the inside really gives you some perspective on what's involved in a unibody construction. You can clearly see the separation between the inner and outer sheet metal, and of course the corrosion protection, which is why some of these vehicles last so much longer. Everything is bathed in an epoxy primer. It also shows you that with a severe collision, the damage can transfer from the outer to the inner layer and cause misalignment issues that take either a lot more money to repair or a lot more time to work out. Now I'm going to use a heel dolly from Matco to reach inside the quarter panel and brace the metal so I can peen some of the high spots back into shape. When you're doing a repair like this, just keep in mind that every action from the hammer creates a reaction in the metal, and you just have to monitor your progress. You can tell by the light and the reflection that our shape is back where we want it. So now just a skim coat of filler and we're done.